When I have fears that I may cease to be, before my pen has gleaned my teeming brain, before high piled books in charactery hold like rich garners the full ripened grain, when I behold upon the night starred face huge cloudy symbols of high romance, and think that I may never live to trace their shadow with the magic hand of chance, and when I feel, fair creature of an hour, that I shall never look upon thee more, never have relish in the fairy power of unrelenting love, then on the shore of the wide world I stand alone, and think, till love and fame to nothingness do sink. Okay, so now we're gonna read the poem again and see what it all means. Okay, so it starts out with: when I have fears that I may cease to be, before my pen has gleaned my teeming brain. So, what that means is that the author is afraid that he will die before he can put all his ideas or for literary writing down onto paper. Okay? Before high piled books in character hold like rich gardeners the full ripened grain. So that's just him saying again that before he dies, if he dies before he has produced a lot of work, so the high pile books, and which have a lot of potential, so that's where the grain and the gardeners, that's what that means. When I behold upon the night starred face huge cloudy symbols of high romance. So that's just him saying um, that he has a passion for nature, and think that I may never live to trace their shadows with the magic hand of chance. So that means that he's afraid that he will never get to experience the beauty of nature in the future again. And when I feel, fair creature of an hour, that I shall never look upon thee more. So that can either be him addressing nature itself, or someone, possibly someone that he's in love with. Um, and he's just afraid that once he dies, they're not going to be a part of his life anymore. Or, or, and he won't get to be with them or see them. Never have relish in the fairy power of unrelenting love. Then on the shore of the wide world I stand alone, and think, till love and fame do nothing less do sink. So that's him saying that his thoughts and his ambitions and his wishes to live on, so that he can keep on loving this person, or that he can keep on experiencing nature, is pretty irrelevant to the larger scheme of life. Because if you think about it, the world will live on forever even if he's not there. So he's realizing that everything's just gonna keep on going, and that his death really can't change it, and that because of that, fame and the fortune from his poems might actually not be that important. And this also kind of hints at the speaker realizing that maybe there is something else to live for, and rather than just the fame that he might never achieve, and that he should keep on writing and on living. um so if we go back right here, before and before, that's, even though it's only twice, it is an anaphora, and he keeps on repeating before, um something happens. So it really gives the sense that he's running out of time, and because he thinks that he's about to die. Um, so at the beginning of the first part of the poem, he's talking about how he's afraid of death, and later it moves on to very contrasting images like cloudy and romance, um, and shadows and magic. Uh, it's just uniting the first part of the poem with this third part, which is him realizing that his fame or whatever he might gain from his poems is maybe not the most important thing that he will experience, and that there is maybe other things worth living for. Okay, so I researched the author, and I found out that he lived from 19 I mean from 1795 to 1821. So that means that he died when he was only 26, and he fell sick from tuberculosis when he was only a teenager, and he was sick ever since. He lived like that for a long time, and so he knew that he didn't have that much time, and that he was eventually gonna die from the tuberculosis, because he lived a pretty miserable life, because he was so sick. And so the speaker is the author, so it's John Keats. The audience, even though there isn't a specified audience, um, the narrator might be talking to nature, a lover, or the general audience. Or he might even be self reflecting. So there isn't a real audience, it might just be written for himself. So the purpose of this, he wrote this poem to explain how he felt about his life and his sickness. This was a way for him to express all the pent up frustration he felt at not being able to fulfill his dreams of living a poetry legacy before his death. The subject is an imminent death before one can accomplish goals, and for the tone, I said that it was apprehensive because he thinks that he might die in the future, and unsatisfied because he is very sad that he won't get to write everything that he thinks that he can write if he was given more time in his life. And passionate because he sounds very passionate about him wanting to write and live on, and also about him wanting to experience nature and maybe even love.